Yeah. Detroit on the road at Washington. This is 8.5 in favor of Detroit. It is 49. You can find a 48.5 at FanDuel, all the way up to a 49.5 out there in the market as well at the big national books. So shop around for the total if you want to play that. Detroit coming off a loss where just hats off, like we said earlier. I mean, Minnesota's defense was just phenomenal in that game. I mean, just absolutely unbelievable. So I'm not, not really knocking anything there in that one. Washington, as we know, Noops did get some good news today. I guess there was no ligament damage in there for Jaden Daniels, so it might just be a long rehab for him as opposed to a complex surgery. So good for them for the long term. For the short term, they're going to be without him for the next several weeks. And McLaurin's still not back. Lattimore goes out last week as well. So it's a pretty depleted Washington team. Getting a Detroit team coming off of a loss, I can only imagine they're going to try to get things right here in this one.
If there's any team I wouldn't want to have to be this week, it'd be the Washington Commanders. Marcus Mariota has been solid as a backup, but clearly is nowhere near the level of what we expected from Jaden Daniels and what he's been able to perform. McLaurin, not the best wide receiver in the NFL, but arguably the most important in terms of his team, given not only who's behind him, but the fact that he is one of the best receivers in the league at stretching the field. Everything we just talked about with Shaheed, McLaurin does that and does it even better. So you've now got a Washington offense that's limited not only by the talent of their quarterback, but also by the amount of field that they're going to have open, given who the position players are here. Detroit, coming into this week, had they won last week against Minnesota, you'd be a little worried about the look ahead to the Eagles next week. But coming off a loss, Dan Campbell is going to have these guys ready to go. I think this is an absolute smash spot for the Lions. I'm happy to lay 8.5 or really any number less than 10, even though they're on the road. And a Commanders team total at 19.5 to me is at least 2 points too high, given, again, how limited the skill position group's going to be for the Commanders and just how good this Lions defense really has been all season. It's quietly one of the better defenses in the league in terms of DVOA and a lot of those different things. So I think that this is probably one of the easiest bets of the week. I think the Lions absolutely manhandle the Commanders.
So I told you I made the pivot this week. I'm actually gonna play Lions in Survivor this week, and I know I realize that there is holiday week value in the Lions down the line, but I still have the Eagles and the Ravens and the Chiefs. So I still have all of those teams. And so I have some versatility. And honestly, depending on what happens with Jaden Daniels and all of this, where it wouldn't be the most confident click for me, but clicking the Cowboys against the Commanders, out in Christmas too, if there's no Jaden Daniels and whatever, it wouldn't be the worst thing in the world for me there either. So they're only 30% available in Circa is Detroit, and the projections only have them getting 3 or 4% of the pool this week. And so just from a leverage situation and game theory situation, and the fact that I think that there's at least some degree of New Orleans being live against Carolina, I said that I thought that the Raiders were live against Denver. That proved to be true. Probably should have won that game. So I ended up on Detroit this week, and I'm glad to hear you say you think it's a smash spot, because hopefully it's a rocking chair win for me. I want to no sweat and just move on, and I'll deal with next week when next week gets here.
Yeah, I love that. Again, a lot of people, when they do these Survivor contests, they overthink things. Again, we talked about it earlier. There are people seriously considering putting their survival on the line with the Cleveland Browns. Don't overthink it. This is a great spot to take Detroit.